Make your lips move. Okay, Cooter here. Actually, that's Cooter Jr. Colin's helping me with this what is this thing? A TJ. The 06 TJ. It's actually an LJ, but they're all the same. Rubicon. And trying to figure out how to get the lockers to work off of the factory locker switch, which we figured out. The next part was to get the light so that it doesn't flash all the time, because we're getting rid of, with this e-locker, we've got no more plunger switch to give feedback to the dashboard that the locker is locked. So as you can see, I've hit the locker switch, transfer cases in low range. We hit the rear locker switch. If I hit it again, it goes off, hit it on. Okay, there's front. I got the wheels off the ground, so I know that the front is locked. I had to turn one of the tires just a little bit. Anyway, the front's not what we're working on. The front is going to be a factory locker right now. We're not changing that yet. But what we've got is the rear flashing. And what I'm going to do is, Colin's holding the dash, I am going to put ground to the sense circuit, which is the wire that would go to the plunger switch. And as soon as I ground that wire, the locker light goes on solid. Okay, this is only an aesthetic thing. I just, my customer does not want to see a blinking locker light on his dash. So I said, well, there's got to be a way I can hook it up so when he hits the switch, it goes on solid. Now it's an e-locker. Most guys don't even have an indicator to indicate lock on it. It's just using their aftermarket switch. It lights up, it put power to it, and it locks. But since we're using the factory switch for now, and we've got these indicator lights on the dash, I wanted to make them work. And here's how I'm going to do it. Spinning this around, looking at the back plug. This is connector 1 on the back of the dashboard. I'm going to unplug it just so you can get a better look at it. All right, so connector 1, this wire here, it's pin 7. I'll show you the diagram. This bottom one on the left would be pin 6. This is pin 7. Pin 7 needs a ground signal to make the rear diff lock light up solid. Without that, this is the wire that gets grounded by the plunger switch. The wire next to it, pin 6, comes right off the switch trigger on the relay under the hood. So when this wire here, pin 6, sees a ground signal, it grounds a pin in here, the dash light starts to blink. As soon as the locker locks, the logic circuit, or the little ECM piece that's in here, gets a ground signal saying the locker's locked. It turns the light on solid. What I'm going to do, and we just tested this, is I'm going to jump these two wires together so they'll both get ground at the same time, and then we'll plug it back in and retry it. Give me a second. All right, show the dashboard. Okay. No hands are on it. No power probe touching it. Ignition's on, low range. It's about 30 seconds later. We did nothing else except join those two wires together. So I hit the rear locker. Bam, instantly the solid engage light comes on. So if we hit it again, we get the front. You hear the little compressor run. Front we never change, like I said, so that's not really the purpose of this. And off. Oh, that's back on. Up is off. Up is off. All right, let's see the back one more time, and we'll wrap this up. Love them or hate them, this is how I did it. Got the dash?
Yeah.
All I did was I joined pin 7 to the locker engage signal wire, which is also a ground, which is pin 6. Join those two together, and now anytime you hit it, you get that basically an instant feedback signal, as if the plunger switch moved right away, and it satisfies the dashboard. We tested it. The rear locker works. I'll show you that in a few minutes. But for now, we're going to wrap up this dashboard. And if we ever do the front e-locker, I'll pull this back out and I'll do the same thing for the front wires, because the wiring is basically the exact same. It's just duplicated for the front. Okay, that's it for now. All right, wrap-up video here for the Creeper rear diff install. Dwayne just took it for a road test. Rear end's nice and quiet. Got some new covers on the 44s. We're gonna flex them out on some rocks. Make sure the rear locker still works. It worked up on the lift just fine. And I'll call this a wrap for the Creeper gear project. So just to recap, it's a new set of 456 ring and pinions and a Detroit Eaton E-locker in the rear in place of the factory air locker. And she looks like she's working really good. Sucker all done and back on the trails. Yep. Yeah, both are turning in the rear. Is the light on solid? Excellent. No front locker yet. Now you got all four. Front diff. Give him a little spot there, Colin. Another Cooter's project.